Now for me, there are only two coupe SUVs that I think look beautiful in today's market. One of them is the Porsche Cayenne Coupe, because Porsche naturally has this coupe roofline to it. The second one is going to be this one right here. This is the brand new 2025 Genesis GV80 Coupe. And Genesis, I've said it before, but I think they're totally crushing it right now. Keep in mind that Genesis has only been around for about a decade, and they still have this very, very distinct design and design identity to it. They just nail every single model that comes out these days. This was introduced at the New York Auto Show in 2023, I do believe, with this beautiful orange concept. This looks like the production version of that vehicle. That one, the concept looked a lot more beefy for some reason. I think it has to do with the stance, but this still looks very beautiful. So in this video, we're gonna have a look at the front end, the side, the rear, the beautiful looking interior with the orange stitching or red seat belts as well. And then of course, we're gonna take this for a drive. Let's have a look at what's under the hood. So the Coupe gets the 3.5 liter turbo V6 with a 48 volt supercharger under the hood, 409 horsepower, you got 405 pound-feet of torque, 8-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive for all GV80s, and then you have 0 to 60 time in about 5 seconds, not bad at all. Fuel economy comes in at 18 city, 22 highway, and the price for this one as spec'd comes out to $88,310. And I think it looks beautiful in this Bering blue and the ultra marina interior. We're going to have a look at that in a minute as well, specifically with the contrast of the red seat belts and the stitching that we have in the interior. So looking at this design here, it is a subtle changes for the lower section compared to the regular boxy design of the GV80. This one has a much more fluid design. We also have these 4 slots here that was visible on the concept from 2023. And what I do love about every single Genesis is the logo, the implementation of the logo, and how I've said this before, but how it just serves down on the hood. It looks like it creates these wake lines on the hood, looking very, very beautiful. The grille is stunning as well. Some might say that this is oversized, but for me, when I look at this car, I really don't think it looks oversized. I think it actually suits this vehicle to have a big grille like this. It proportionally doesn't look too big. We have the black chrome on the outer parts, on the outer squares here, and then on the inner parts we have these matte, different texture for the inserts here, but still a similar pattern. We have the front-mounted camera located right there, and of course the lower section being a lot more organic than what we used to have in the pre-facelift GV80, for example, which had a lot more static lower section. They refreshed the regular GV80 as well to have much more fluid design like we have here. Now we do have the black type chrome here in the bottom as well, in addition to some functional air slots. Everything here is functional. Openings here, opening there, and opening in the main grille, of course, as well. We have these very small micro lens LEDs in the headlights, and I can't believe that these are actually the main headlight unit with these small little LEDs. I mean, technology when it comes to light design has come so far from the Audi R8, which was the first car to have LED daytime run lights in 2007, I do believe. And then we have, of course, these 2-line design going across the entire vehicle. Just absolutely beautiful, and they nailed the design identity for Genesis in just a short span of time. Just 10 years since Genesis was introduced to the market in general, and we still, even today, I mean, in this short time, we still have this beautiful design, language, and clear identity for Genesis. Now coming on to the side view, this is obviously where it's going to happen the biggest changes. Of course, this part right here in the rear end having this swooping design or sloping roofline compared to the more boxy regular GV80. We have the 22-inch wheels specifically for the Coupe, 265 millimeter wide tires. I like the wheel design here. Looking pretty nice to me. It looks like a 5-spoke design if you just blur your vision, but then you can see that we have some inner spokes here as well that are sort of darker. One thing I would love to see for specifically the Coupe, the more sporty version, that we don't get for this is a blacked out black optics package or something like that, where all of these chrome pieces, you can see down here, for example, and this massive chrome piece in the lower section right here, and also these pieces here, I want them to be blacked out. That is something I would definitely choose for my GV80 Coupe. Now looking at the shoulder line here, beautiful shoulder line swooping down. You can see the influences from Bentley, having the same designer for this as you did in the 2014 Flying Spur. You can see some of that inspiration coming back here for the GV80 Coupe, of course. And we have this massive chrome piece in the lower section. Not sure what I think about this. Let me know if you like this or not. It looks like a mirror down here in the lower section of the GV80 Coupe. It definitely adds some classiness to this design, but maybe it's a little bit too thick of a chrome piece for my taste. You can see that it continues back in this area as well. Now looking at the rear end, I mean, this is one of the best looking rear ends on a SUV in my opinion, because look at this beautiful ducktail spoiler that we have, how it sticks up like this, creating this elliptical shape that we're so used to seeing from all Genesis, is essentially creating this housing or framing for the rear end graphics all the way here, wrapping around in the lower section. And then we of course have the two-line design coming back here, similar to what we have in the side view for the indicators. Up top we do have the dual wings or spoilers up here. You can see one wing here, then we have another wing right here. You can see the camera located right there for the rear view mirror. For the interior you have the backup camera located in this area a little further down. And stunning, beautiful design. One thing I love that they kept here compared to the regular GV80 is, for the refresh of the GV80, they actually removed the tailpipes in the lower section, but not for the sporty coupe. And that just suits the coupe to be a little bit more sporty and still have, of course, the tailpipes in the back intact, exactly like I want to see. We have this mustache design for the, I guess you could call this a diffuser, some reflector lights right there. GV80 Genesis spelled out in the middle. So let's open this up and see what type of space we have. It's actually not that much smaller than the regular boxy design for the GV80. Still had plenty of space here. I mean, for me personally, I have all the space I need back here. I would never, probably in my life, unless I have a huge family and 5 kids, need more space than this. You can fold the back seats with these buttons. You have a 12-volt outlet right there, some netting. Underneath here you're gonna see that we have a tire repair kit, I do believe, is hiding down there. That is pretty much it for the additional storage underneath the floor itself. We have some LEDs here and blue interior, similar to what we have for the seat design as well. So let's close this back down and let's talk about the beautiful interior that we have for the 2025 GV80 Coupe. One of my favorite, one or two, so there's not really a lot to choose from. 102 beautiful coupe SUVs on the market today. The biggest change for 2025 with the GV80 in general is going to be this integration of the gauge cluster and the dash. Now, as you can see, we do have the big 27-inch OLED display that is one continuous screen instead of what you have in Hyundais, for example. We have a separation of the screen right in the middle. Now it's just one continuous screen all around here. Looking, I don't know, it looks a lot cheaper for sure than what we used to have with the housing for the gauge cluster. Definitely prefer the pre-facelift compared to this. Then we have some carbon fiber for the coupe, looking beautiful. Nice looking door handles, Bang & Olufsen, I do believe 18 speaker sound system, and nicely sculpted and designed quality feel for all the buttons that you have for the mirrors here and also the windows, of course. Beautiful contrast stitching with this Marina blue, I think it's called, this interior. And then you have this contrast stitching, adding some splash of color to this. You also have the cup holder down here in addition to some more storage. This is the massage button. So if you click this, it's gonna start massaging you. I think it's 4 different types of massage you can choose from. Power assisted, obviously, and then we have the red seat belts. I think it looks cool, specifically when you have the red piping here and the red stitching. The seat design themselves, just beautiful looking seats. So let's jump in here, have a closer look at what's going on with this interior. So I don't know what you think about this new integration that we have for the big screen. If you like this, or if you prefer the old one where you had the housing for it up here, I definitely prefer the old one for sure. You have this massive continuous screen now, so you can have whatever you want on the screen. It's fully customizable. You can switch this to have the map, for example. We can go in here, you can have the map here. I love how it's fades. You can't really see that because we're in the middle of nowhere right now, but you can sort of see it in this area, how the map fades into this to the gauge cluster. Looking beautiful. I mean, the software for this is a stunning design. Up top we have a head-up display, as you can see, soft touch material all around here, and the red stitching coming back, carbon fiber here as well across the entire dash. It's pretty small steering wheel, I would say. But the key thing here, even though we do have these big screens up top, you can of course go into climate here if you want to change the climate settings here. It's a little bit cold, chilly now, so let's just boost this up a little bit. You can do that here, or you have this separated screen down here, which is perfect to see a separated small little unit in this area. And what's most important is the temp control, which thankfully in this case is indeed still a physical dial. Looking beautiful. Heated ventilated seats in 3 different levels where you want the air to blow out from. Just click these buttons here. You have some scent if you want it to be extremely smelly in here, or just a little bit. You have heated steering wheel, 2 different levels, fan speed up and down. Very easy to figure this out, as you can see. Now back to the screen here. I really like this setup. You have the 3D setup for the vehicle itself. You can rotate it. You can go into the interior as well. Check this out. Is the exact same spec as well like we have in our real car. So let's go in and check out the inside. We can check that out in detail right here. Looking pretty beautiful. I wish we had the same spec for the interior like we have on the exterior for the renderings here, but yeah, as you can see, it's a different spec here. Totally fine. It's just a small detail. Of course, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. They actually updated it when this first came out. It didn't have that, but it was an over-the-air update that they now have implemented in the vehicle, which is something you want to have for $88,000. Now all the way down here, you can see that we do have the wireless phone charger, 12-volt outlet in that area. You can see 2 USB-Cs as well. We can close this down to have this beautiful carbon fiber flowing waterfall here. Now this section is one of my favorite sections of any car interior these days. The gear selector is just a stunning piece of art here. Putting it into reverse, you're gonna pop up the full 360 camera. We can go in and have a look at the car itself, exactly where it's positioned. You have the trajectory lines here, and you can have the fisheye view or whatever type of view you want for the wheels. See exactly the positioning of the wheels as well, and top-down view for the rear end. So all the cameras you need are integrated here with the Genesis GV80 Coupe. Putting it back into park, just pressing that button is just a pretty satisfying feeling when you're using this. Now this right here is the fingerprint reader. So if you own this car, you can start it up and just have all your settings by just putting your finger here, which is pretty cool. This is to navigate the screen itself. You can either use a touch screen, or you have a small little dial here to navigate that. You have some shortcut buttons here, and these are the drive modes in addition to the parking sensor button right there, camera button. You have the on and off at red lights, and you can also lock the center diff with this button. Now if you go into drive modes, you have one special drive mode for the Coupe that doesn't exist on the regular GV80, and that is a Sport Plus. Gets a little bit more louder, however it is pumped into the cabin, so I'm not sure how you feel about that. Personally, not sure if it's starting to be okay with me to just have a little bit more noise in the interior, even though it's pumped in and faked. But you can see just how angry the dial gets. And it also sounds pretty good when you're revving it, even though it is, as I said, pumped in. That's the drive mode button. You can open this, the center portion. You can see just how small or shallow this storage is. Really not a lot of storage underneath the armrest. I wish we could have a little bit more storage than this, but at least it looks stunning with the blue, and then you have the stitching coming back in the armrest here. Up top, we have a full panoramic sunroof. You can open it all the way up, and you can also open up to vent the front portion here. You have some nice LEDs here. I like how it fades in and out instead of having just be distinct on and off. Just makes this is Genesis in the small details that I like. Just how everything is so subtle and classy. Looking at the steering wheel, as I said, I feel like this is a pretty small steering wheel, which I don't mind at all. It has a flat bottom, as you can see. Love that we have the orange stitching coming back and the big Genesis logo in the middle. You have the controls for the volume, voice command here on the right side, and the controls for the cruise control, adaptive cruise control, and to customize the gauge cluster with these buttons. So you can switch this up. You can hold to change up the tachometer like that. Now we can actually see the revs. Sounds pretty cool. or we can have it with the whatever media we have there, and then you have a speedometer on the right side. You can also have the big Apple CarPlay map in the middle when you have your phone connected, which is also great to see. You have the washer stock on the right side as expected, and the indicator stock right here on the left side, and the paddles, of course, for the 8-speed automatic located on the back side. We have some stitching here, again coming back in the inside of the steering wheel with some perforated leather where you're gonna keep your hands for some nice grippy feel. Now with that said, let's jump into the back seat, because the power seats in the back, you can actually recline them pretty substantially, which is gonna make for a very nice, calm, relaxing drive. If you have a driver, for example, and you want to chill in the back, you can definitely do that. Check this out. We have these. You can just recline the whole seat back and just relax when you're, going for a long road trip or something like that. Then you also have this. You can fold down the back seat if you want to do that. We have the same type of styling here for the inside of the door like we have in the front. Then carbon fiber stitching coming back. Door handle feels solid. So let's jump in here and check these out. One detail I love about Genesis as well is you have these buttons on the side of the front seat. So if you want to move these back and forth, you can do that from the passenger seat in the back, which I think is a great feature. We have 3 climate zones in this car. You have heated and ventilated seats for the back seats. Great to see that. You have a couple more USBs in addition to a house outlet right there, and of course the cup holders in the armrest. You can fold this up. We have a little bit more storage underneath the armrest itself. Beautiful design for the exterior and the interior, and these seats, almost bucket seats for the rear passengers, these look beautiful and they really hold you in place even if you are a passenger in this car, which is always nice to see. So with that said, we talked about the exterior design, the interior. Now it's time to take this beauty for a drive. Let's take the 2025 Genesis GV80 Coupe for a drive. Let me show you what this is all about. Every single time I jump into a Genesis these days, the main feeling I get is that this is a brand that really wants to take care of the driver. Let's put it in Sport Plus, the unique mode that we have with the Coupe. It sounds really good, even though it is artificially pumped in a little bit. Really pulls. 409 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6 twin turbo, and this 48 volt system that we have as well. It really brings up the torque. I think 405 pound-feet of torque or something like that. Said it in the beginning, I can't really remember the exact number, just over 400. And when you're driving like this is Saturday morning now. I'm on my way to play some tennis, and just wanted to take you along for the ride and show you why I love Genesis so much these days. The main reason why I think Genesis is such a cool brand right now is they've not been around for so long. They've been around for less than a decade. I love when I put it in Sport Plus, by the way, the seats, the bolstering, you can feel the bolstering just starting to hug you and tighten around you. And then when you put it back into comfort, you can feel the seats taking exhaling and just releasing the pressure around the bolstering. Small details like that. You have the scent here as well, and when you put the wipers on, blocking outside air to prevent the odor of washer fluid from coming into the cabin. Small details like that makes it feel like the car, Genesis just wants to take care of you. That is the vibe I get. If you want to make it even more relaxing, go into the mood curator right here, and this is probably specifically being stuck in traffic or something like that, and you want to just relax. We have vitality, delight, care, and comfort. Let's put it into comfort here, and let's start this. So the seat is now starting to massage you, and we get this beautiful symphony from Genesis to just chill out, and it makes for such a relaxing drive. $88,000. Sometimes the G90 as well, sometimes it just feels like $150,000 $150,000 vehicles because of all these features that we have. So now we have this mood curator on here, and this is what it's all about. Can lean back a little bit in our GV80 Coupe and just relax. Think about life. Deep thoughts, questions. It's just very relaxing, as you can tell. Now the interior design, again, I don't understand what is happening with screens like this in every single new vehicle that comes out. Audi is moving towards it as well, which is very sad to see. Audi used to have some of the best interiors in the business just a few years ago, and now they are back to I mean, they're just jumping on the trend with having dual screens as well, which is very sad to see. We have that here as well with the Genesis. As you know, the previous GV80, the pre-facelift, had this stunning interior where you had an actual separation between the infotainment screen and the gauge cluster. But, you know, I've talked so much about this and what I think about it that it feels like I'm just repeating myself over and over again. Personally, 100% prefer the old generation or the pre-facelift. I think that just feels more high quality and feels more like Genesis actually put in some effort designing that piece. Here, when you have screens like this, what I think is going on is, first of all, it looks cheaper than when you have a housing and maybe some analog features inside of the gauge cluster. And I also think that Genesis is saving, or car companies are saving a lot of money by just making screens like this, because pixels, making software is a lot cheaper than making physical parts. But what Genesis is doing so well these days is, for me, the difference between product design, industrial design, automotive design is automotive design still needs to have an aspect of art to it. It can't just be 100% functionality in the design, and it needs to have a personality to the vehicle when you're looking at it. You need to walk up to a vehicle and see what type of personality it's going to have when you go in and drive it. And I think that is, ever since Luke Donkervalke came back, or it was you know, became the boss of Genesis and Hyundai, he really started to nail this two-line design that we have across every single vehicle in Genesis lineup. And if you think about it, that is not an easy thing to do. I can't really think of any brand that has gone this quickly into such a strong brand identity as Genesis in just a few years' time. They used to look pretty bland before we had this two-line design introduced in, I do believe, around 2020 or something like that. If I had to buy a Coupe SUV, I only have these two choices: the Porsche Cayenne Coupe and also this Genesis GV80 Coupe. The rest, I really don't like the designs of any other in the segment, any other vehicle in the segment. So this one also being a lot cheaper than the Porsche Cayenne, this would be my only option for a Coupe SUV. So well done, Genesis. I do like what you're doing in every single vehicle. The G90 was one of the best vehicles for the price you're paying I've ever reviewed. It felt like a $200,000 vehicle. Fantastic design, Art Deco feel to the exterior, and this one has the same Art Deco vibe to it. So well done, Genesis, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.